mailbag for questions. But before we do that, what are we talking about today as far as the Exodus case?
The Exodus case. Do we have the book? Yes, we do.
This
it's
is
somewhere.
not the one you left
I'm
in
not
Israel.
the book, but
Yeah.
I like to show it because really what I'm doing is just kind of a book report, and it shows the website and gives accreditation to where it's well-deserved, and Dr. Moeller has done some really interesting work. But anyway, as we're progressing along, that first map, it's from Google Earth, and it shows the overall area, and the upper left, I believe, is what you're looking at, is the Egypt Delta, and then that triangle in the center is the Sinai Peninsula, and the two fingers of the Red Sea, and the one on the right is called the Gulf of Aqaba. And all descriptions of Midian are to the right of that. And so the next map shows you what I'm talking about, the land of Midian, and this is kind of a review of what we talked about last time, is to the east of the Gulf of Aqaba. And so if that's where Moses fled to, that's where Jethro, the priest of Midian, as he's called, would be located. And of course, water is of supreme importance, and there aren't that many sites in that many places. So the populations would gather around those places. And we know from Scripture that when Moses came into the land of Midian, the daughters of Jethro were feeding their sheep, and that he helped them out there. And so here you have an Egyptian general, 40-year-old man, you know, well into mature years, fleeing from those who want to kill him, and he ends up there and becomes invited to the house of Jethro, and so he spends 40 years, now the next 40 years, in the land of Midian. And there isn't,
as a shepherd, basically,
over the flocks of Jethro. He became part of his household. He married one of his daughters, Zipporah. They had 2 sons, and so that kind of narrows down where Mount Sinai is, what we consider Mount Sinai. And again, we're not talking about the peninsula of Sinai where the traditional site is, and there's not really much reason at all to have said that, when there is so many reasons, and it keeps getting confirmed in not only biblical texts, but extra biblical texts like Josephus, and he makes mention of a lot of different things. So one of the things he makes mention of is Josephus has a note about a particular mountain range called Jabal al-Al, which is the same in Arabic as saying El,
God. Yeah.
God, Laz. And it is in the vicinity of Al-Bad. It is the tallest of the mountains in the area. And that the shepherds would not go there because it was considered a sacred mountain. And on the old maps that Dr. Moeller has examined, Mount Horeb is another name for Mount Sinai we were talking about. As a matter of fact, in Exodus it's called Horeb. In Exodus 3:1 it's also called Mountain of God. In Josephus calls it Sinai. Paul, in Galatians, calls it Mount Sinai in Arabia, which is, yeah, that's very important. Horeb, the Mount of God, that was in 1 Kings when Elijah fled to the mountain of God. We're talking about this same place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. There's all these things coming together, you know. And there is a cave in this mountain, and somebody has sent us pictures from inside the cave, which may very well be the cave that Elijah spent time in the mountain of God. So we talked about this is where Moses was. He was responsible for the flocks, and so it couldn't have been that far from water, the
Right.
mountain. Can we see that second?
Third one?
The second map again. Yeah, you see where Al-Bad is and where Horeb is, and so it's not that far, and it's certainly within walking distance. And the well of Moses. You know, I want to say one other thing. Go to Google Earth. On this subject, you will just be fascinated when you zoom in. People have pictures of all these places, including the well of Moses, and the Saudi Arabia Department of Tourism has consigned some pictures to be taken. They're panoramics of the well of Moses. You can look and see what the traditional site is. And pictures of this site of Mount Sinai, pictures from the mountain looking down, a 3D image. It is absolutely fascinating. So I really encourage you to go there. You're going to get much more information there. And I'm going to leave it at that for now, unless you want me to take up more time.
Yeah, because there's more information about the mountain, right?
There is. Let me
Well, we can pick it up tomorrow since we're going to be together tomorrow if you want.
Yeah,
That's up to you.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Let's tease them. Teaser. This is an official on the box.
Let me
teaser.
show you.
Sure.
Show the first picture of the mountain. It's very dark. It's very high, but the top of it is real dark looking. I don't know if that represents
burnt.
anything. It does, but that whole range around there does. And there are many other things that support that this is where the children of Israel were, including an altar area and just a lot of other stuff that we'll get into. Right now, all we're talking about is where Moses, Moses was in Midian. He was with the sheep, and he was in the area, and he came to this place, and he saw a bush that burned with fire. By the way, there is a bush, and it's quite remarkable.
No more. Tease. Tease. We have to tease them.
Yeah,
drive them back to the show.
I've been fascinated with all of this. So
all right. So,
I hope you are too.
So join us again tomorrow, and we'll continue talking about the Mountain of God. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and the Exodus case, will you show that picture again? I want to show that one more time, especially for Maria. Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. And while it's a little pricey, what was it, about $60, $60, $70?
Yeah, the best price that I've found is on the second website where they're making a movie of all of this, based in large part on this book, the ExodusConspiracy.com, and they also sell the book, and that was about the best price I'd seen. But still, you're talking $40 or $45.
Well, and you want to make sure to get the third edition, right? That's the latest edition.
That's the latest one.